Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing well. If you like what you see in this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, or possibly share this video. Today I'm taking a look at Darwin's Paradox, released yesterday as of this recording, April 22nd. Developer is ZDT Studio, publishers Konami. Yeah, so let's take a look at the Steam page and see what the game is like. It currently has 91 reviews, which in total are all very positive. So that seems to be pretty good. The game is only $25? Yeah, $25. So it's an indie game, not too expensive. I'm guessing it's pretty short. So as far as the system requirements, it recommends for CPU, it just says AMD or Intel A-core of 3.5 gigahertz or faster. It would have been nice if it was a little bit more explicit. You asking for a 9900K, a 10700K, 5800X? I'm guessing along those lines, possibly. System memory, 16 gigabytes. Graphics card, RTX 3060 or AMD 6600 XT. Okay, so these GPUs are pretty close to RTX 2070, so slightly above the PlayStation 5. DX12 storage, 10 gigabytes, which is pretty good. Nowadays, games are 10 times that size. Call of Duty, I'm looking at you. SSD recommended. So yeah, so the system requirement is for 1080p. What recommended specification allow for 1080p resolution at 30 to 60 FPS in medium quality. Wow. Okay. Okay. So 1080p 30 FPS at high settings. Okay. Wow. That's not good. So this is an Unreal Engine 5 title. If you've seen my previous video, you know how I feel about Unreal Engine. I think it's the worst gaming engine in history. A bloated, blurry, garbage mess that tends to stutter and run like shit. So it's no surprise, for this kind of hardware, you only get in 30 FPS at medium, at high settings at 1080p, which is quite abysmal. But without further ado, let me hop in the game and take a look at it and see how it runs. I am recording this video using a 4K 60Hz capture card, which is recording directly to my iMac. So what you see during gameplay, performance-wise, should be indicative of your performance if you have similar hardware. So RTX 3070 Ti, RX 6800. So you should get similar performance. As far as like the driver, I had to downgrade to you can see down here I'm using driver 566.36, which was released in December 5th 2024. So this driver is over a year, going on a year and a half old now. A year and 4 months old. The reason I did that is because I want to see, because I've been seeing articles and videos, people in my comments mentioning that the latest drivers are pretty terrible compared to the previous one. So I will be releasing a video to stay tuned comparing this driver version to the latest driver, which is 595.97. And I'm back in Darwin's Paradox in the main menu. So let me take a look at options. Graphical preset. This game doesn't really have support for a mouse and keyboard, at least for the mouse. It does encourage you to use a controller. I don't believe it supports the DualShock or DualSense controller. At least the button inputs will map to the Xbox controller, so preferably use an Xbox controller. So display, set that to full screen. VSync, absolutely not. Turn that off. Let's see, the typical Unreal Engine. This is an Unreal Engine game, so here goes nothing. Okay, so everything is set to high. Anti-aliasing set to high. I don't know what that means. Is it TAA? Is it TSR, temporal super resolution? Like, I need to know what this means, because Unreal Engine 5 games are just so blurry, like absolutely blurry. It's like the screen is smeared in Vaseline. So anyway, high it is. Texture set to high. Shadow set to high. View distance, high is the highest. So it looks like high is the highest preset you can go with. Reflection quality, post-processing. Visual effects, everything set to high. So let me go back. Support for surround sound audio. Okay, it does. Perfect. So we'll be going with that. I do have a 5.1 Creative Sound Blaster X AE5 Plus, so pretty high-end sound card. And connected to that is my true analog 5.1 surround sound audio. Controls, nothing too exciting. You can see the controller input does map to the Xbox, so pretty standard there. But yeah, so let me jump in the game and see how it performs. Do keep in mind the game does have a shader compilation process. It took less than 2 minutes, so your mileage may vary. Okay, I'm at the start of the game. As usual, take a look at the performance matrix. I'm currently sitting at 40 FPS, everything cranked up to high, which is the maximum graphical preset. Yeah, as usual, the game is very blurry. It's an Unreal Engine 5 game. You know what that means. It looks and runs like shit. So people come into my comments and they talk about, oh, it's not Unreal Engine's fault. It's the developers. Are you kidding me? If I had a penny for each time I heard that, I'll be the wealthiest man in the world. Like, every single game, and I mean every single game that uses Unreal Engine 5, just absolutely runs and looks like shit. Can we please stop making excuses and stop coping? Like, just look at this. Look at this game. This is literally, I'm literally in the ocean underwater, and I'm getting 34 FPS, 35 FPS, right? And the game is so blurry. It's so freaking blurry. Why? I honestly blame gamers for the state of gaming, because I have people in my comments who come in, and when I talk about fake pixels like DLSS, FSR, people always want to defend all these fake pixel algorithm, right? Instead of these developers to target a fixed resolution, native resolution, and optimize their games around it, right? Specifically the consoles. Let's take, for example, the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is equivalent to a 2060 Super, right? Why not just target, say, 1080p, most games 1080p 60 FPS, and if possible 1440p 60 FPS, but target 60 FPS as the frame rate, and then focused around a fixed resolution instead of using fake pixels like FSR or PSSR, right? This is the state of gaming, and people talk about OptiScaler or going into the NVIDIA app to enable DLSS 4. Like, I don't care about that. I want native resolution. Native resolution will always be better than fake pixels, because DLSS quality is essentially 67% if you're lucky of your native resolution. So in my case, it would be 1712 by 960. That is not native resolution. That is way far below 2560 by 1440p. But anyway, I'm just tired of the state of gaming. Like, games nowadays don't excite me. They're just bloated garbage, blurry mess. Like, look at this game. It's so blurry. It's saying that the anti-aliasing, I suspect, just by looking at it, I suspect this is using either TAA or Unreal Engine 5's temporal super resolution. Look at that. I just dipped down to 27 FPS. My 1% low, my 0.1% low is 25 FPS. For what? For this game? This game looks like shit. My goodness. This game looks worse than a Nintendo Wii game. Like, Super Mario Galaxy looks better than this. And this is Unreal Engine 5, folks. Unreal Engine 5. The worst gaming engine in history. It's just, whenever I see that logo, that Unreal Engine 5 logo, I just cringe, because I know what it's going to be all about. It's going to be a blurry garbage mess. Look at this, 25 FPS on a 2080 Ti. I get it. Look at that, 20 FPS. I get it. My hardware is going on 8 years old now, right? But my GPU, the 2080 Ti is equivalent to the 5060 Ti in terms of performance, right? So just because it's old doesn't mean it's outdated. It can still handle its own just fine. But it's just I'm just so sick and tired of this, man. It's all games are just using this engine for no reason. Like, okay, I get it. It's Unreal Engine 5. Most games developers, it's ubiquitous, right, with the gaming industry. I get it, but at least use a different engine like Unity. Use something else. Konami, a few years ago, they had what is it? That engine used to make Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain, and Ground Zero. Why not use that engine? Why use Unreal Engine? It's just a never-ending cycle. It just never ends. It's always the same story. All games that use this engine just tend to just run like shit. Just look how blurry the game looks. And this is at native resolution, right? Everything cranked up to the highest preset it can go up to. Yeah, as I go above water, like my FPS just tanks into the 20s. Look at that. Like 23, 22, 16 FPS. Wow. Are you kidding me? Okay, so it does seem that the underwater section is a lot heavier than the outdoor section. But still, like the visuals on hand do not warrant this performance whatsoever. Like I said, the game is very soft, and just looking at the environment, like it's so blurry and soft. So, like I said previously, I suspect this game is either using TAA or temporal super resolution for the anti-aliasing. Looking at the performance metrics, the first line, the GPU information. So I'm using currently 322 watts GPU power. GPU usage at 99%. VRAM is at 5 gigs. CPU usage at 20%, and everything looks to be fairly typical for an Unreal Engine game. I mean, I'll give the one thing I will give Unreal Engine 5 props about is the VRAM usage tends to be very conservative, so usually under 8 gigabytes, as well as the system memory. But other than that, everything else is just terrible. Like the image quality is always soft and blurry, and the performance is always sub 60 FPS, and the frame time. I mean, look at the frame time. It's very erratic. Luckily for me, I'm using my Xbox 360 controller, so it doesn't feel too bad. But the game does not feel smooth whatsoever. Sometimes people in my comment section, or all these so-called tech influencers, or all these consumers who are always praising NVIDIA DLSS. It's a shame, because like what happened to the good old days before the RTX cards came out, right? Before the 2000 series came out in 2018, developers would develop games for a specific resolution. Like it was all about rasterization. Now we're forced to use fake pixels and fake pixels like DLSS, and forced to use fake frames like frame gen. Like it's just abysmal. The state of the gaming industry. Like games are not fun anymore. Like, so it's so funny because I'll have people in my comment section ask me, how come you're still using an old, your 2080 Ti is still old? It's because I don't want to support NVIDIA and their terrible, corporate greed malpractice, right? I could easily, if I wanted to, I can buy a 5090 and a 9950X 3D tomorrow if I wanted to. But I choose not to. What's the point? If this is all I'm gonna get, a blurry, garbage, unoptimized game, why would I add fuel to the fire by enabling NVIDIA's greed? And all AMD is gonna do is just copy whatever NVIDIA does, instead of AMD to try to differentiate itself and say, okay, we're gonna focus on pure rasterization. But what's the point? NVIDIA holds the market lead as far as like PC gaming. So AMD and Intel are just going to copy whatever they do. Like, just look at this. There's no reason this game should be running this game should be running at over 120 FPS easily. For the kind of visuals on hand, there's nothing groundbreaking that I'm seeing here. The lighting is baked. The game just looks soft. Like there's nothing groundbreaking about this game whatsoever. Anyway, you get the idea. You see the performance on hand. So if you have anything like a 5060 Ti, a 3070 Ti, you're gonna get similar performance as I am. But the visuals here are nothing to write home about. The game does not look good whatsoever. But the performance, just like Marvel Rivals, like why use Unreal Engine 5? That's the reason I stopped playing games like Marvel Rivals. I thoroughly enjoyed that game, but the performance is absolutely atrocious in that game. Absolutely atrocious. You compare that game to Overwatch 2 that runs like 3 to 4 times faster and looks much cleaner, than Marvel Rivals. Why use Unreal Engine? If you like what you see in this video, leave a like, subscribe. Take care.